Eye of the Storm by Ukiresh Azubike. Chapter 9. The Pilgrimage of Dust and Bones. Imezi looked east, where the sun was rising like a reborn god. "Then let it turn," she said. Disguised as Fulani traders, their features obscured by indigo veils and robes, they joined a caravan heading deep into the Sahara. The world was a monochrome of blinding gold sand and piercing blue sky, a stark contrast to the verdant vibrancy of their homeland. The air was a dry furnace, and the silence was a presence in itself. It was on this journey they first encountered the sweeping tide of history. They met the remnants of the Songhai army, shattered and fleeing eastward from the forces of the Saadi Sultanate. They heard the name of Askia Ishak II, the last great Songhai ruler, spoken with a mixture of pity and fury. And they learned of the Moroccan Pashas, Jodar, and later, the formidable Mahmud Basha, who led armies with advanced firearms, crusaders in all but name, fueled by faith and a hunger for gold and slaves. The theoretical danger became horrifyingly real when they crested a dune and saw the smoke rising from a small trading oasis below. It was not a campfire, but the pyre of a village. Moroccan soldiers, their banners flying, moved through the chaos like devils. The air was thick with screams, the clash of steel, and the sharp report of arquebuses. "We cannot engage them all," Kezie said, his voice tight with fury as he watched a group of women being rounded up. "We don't have to fight them all," Imezi replied, her eyes scanning the scene with a strategist's cold focus. "We just have to be a distraction." While Kezie created a diversion by setting fire to a supply tent and causing a panic among the camels, Imezi moved like a ghost through the chaos. She found the captives, a group of about 20 women and children, their eyes hollow with terror. Among them was a young woman whose regal bearing and defiant stare stood out even in her disheveled state. Her name was Zara. "They killed my father, the emir of this oasis," Zara whispered to Imezi, her Hausa accented but clear. "I am to be a gift for Pasha Mahmud." Imezi didn't hesitate. Using the cover of the smoke and confusion Kezie had created, she led the prisoners into a narrow canyon behind the oasis, a route Zara knew well. They fled into the embracing darkness of the desert night. But Kezie did not meet them at the rendezvous point. As the hours stretched, a cold dread settled in Imezi's stomach. She knew. She felt it like a snapped cord in her soul. He had been captured. The diversion had worked too well. We must keep moving, Zara urged gently. "Your brave friend sacrificed himself for us." "He is not sacrificed," Imezi said, her voice like flint. "He is captured. And I am going back." Leaving the refugees in Zara's capable care, Imezi turned her back on safety and marched back towards the enemy camp. As she moved through the cold desert, a presence manifested beside her, a shimmer in the air that coalesced into the form of the shadow walker from her childhood, though he wore the face of a handsome Moroccan lieutenant. "Such futile loyalty," he hissed, his voice a seductive poison in her mind. "Look at what mortality offers. Brutality, betrayal, and a short, painful life. You could walk into that camp and command them to release him. The power is in you. We can give you the key. No more hiding, no more fear, just power. Eternal, unquestioned power." The temptation was a physical ache. To never feel this helpless again. To command armies instead of fleeing from them. The vision of the glittering marine kingdom, a realm of endless pleasure without pain, flashed before her eyes.
it would be so easy. But then she thought of Kezie's smile in the sacred grove, of his body blocking the spear, of the silent vow they had made across centuries not yet lived.
"The strength you offer is a cage," Imezi whispered into the night. "I choose the storm." The Shadow Walker's form dissipated with a soundless snarl of frustration. Imezi found Kezie at dawn. He was bound to a post in the center of the camp, beaten but unbroken. His immortality had ensured he survived the torture they had undoubtedly inflicted, a fact that would have confused and perhaps terrified his captors. As the camp stirred, she used the one weapon they would never expect: her voice. From a high dune, she began to sing. It was not a song of her mother, but a ululating, alien melody she had heard in her dreams of the desert, a tune that spoke of sandworms and shifting dunes, of a curse upon those who defiled the sacred land. She poured all her power, all her will into that song. To the superstitious soldiers, it was the cry of a desert jinn. Panic spread. In the confusion, Imezi descended like a wraith, her blade a silver flash in the nascent light, cutting Kezie's bonds. They fled together, back into the vast, unforgiving embrace of the Sahara, their mission more critical than ever. They had faced the brutality of man and the temptation of the void, and they had held fast. But the concept of the Iiua was now a chilling reality. If their enemies ever learned of it, their endless lives would be balanced on the edge of a knife. The pilgrimage was no longer just about retrieval. It was about survival.